AI tools are moving so fast, it's kind of dizzying, right? But here's the thing, most of us are still using them like it's 2022. So today, we're going to dive into the skills that will actually put you ahead of the game, like way ahead, by 2026.
So I gotta ask, are you really getting the most out of AI? I mean, honestly, for most of us, the answer is a big no. It's like we've been handed a spaceship, but we're still just driving it around the block. Adapting your whole approach, that's the key to really taking off.
And trust me, it's so worth it. We're talking about getting ahead of like 90% of the people in your field. This isn't just about saving a few minutes here and there. Nope. This is a fundamental change in how you think, how you work, and how you create value.
All right, let's kick things off with the big one. The first major hurdle for literally anyone who's used AI is that it can be so confidently wrong. You know what I'm talking about, right? So how do we get it to stop making stuff up and actually give us the truth?
This quote just nails it. The AI makes stuff up, gives you terrible advice, and does it with this incredible, unshakable confidence. It hallucinates. It'll invent facts, cite sources that don't even exist. It's honestly the #1 reason people get totally fed up and just walk away from these tools. So, what's the fix? Well, the trick is to stop the AI from just dipping into its own giant, messy, internet-sized brain. The best solution by far is a skill called grounding. It's simple, really. Instead of asking a vague question and hoping for the best, you give the AI the exact information you want it to use as its source of truth.
And here's how you do it. It's actually pretty straightforward. Step 1, give it context. Upload a PDF, paste in an article, whatever you've got. Step 2, and this is absolutely crucial, tell it to answer only based on that document. If the answer isn't in there, it has to say, I don't know. Then, for really important stuff, you do step 3, make it grade its own work. Tell it to add confidence labels, high, medium, or low, to its answers. That way, you know exactly what you need to go back and double-check.
Okay, so grounding is a huge step forward. But even with that, sometimes one AI just isn't going to cut it, especially when what you're working on is really high stakes. Think about it. ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, they all have their own quirks, their own strengths, and their own blind spots. Just relying on one is kind of like only getting one person's opinion on something really important. And that's where this idea of an LLM council comes in. It's a term from Andrej Karpathy at OpenAI, and honestly, it's a total game changer. Instead of just asking one AI, you assemble a council. You give the exact same prompt to a few different AIs. Then you look at all the answers side by side. You can see where they agree, where they disagree, and you can cherry-pick the absolute best parts from each one. It's a fantastic way to fact-check and get a much stronger result on anything that really matters.
All right, so now we know how to get answers we can actually trust. That's step 1. Now, let's build on that and talk about the next level, which is moving from just being someone who uses AI to someone who builds with AI. I'm talking about creating entire workflows and systems.
The big idea here is a skill called orchestration. And what's so cool about this is that it's not about becoming an expert in one specific app. I mean, the tools are changing every week, right? No, this is a meta skill. It's the skill above the tools. It's about being the architect, designing a process from start to finish, and then connecting all the different pieces, both AI and non-AI, to make it all run on its own.
And you can start doing this like today. Seriously, just pick a task you do over and over again. First, write down every single manual step. Get really detailed. Then, look at that list and ask yourself, okay, where could an AI do this part? Finally, use some simple automation tools to link everything together. You don't have to build a giant system overnight. Just start by connecting 2 or 3 things and see what happens.
Here's a great real-world example, publishing a video. Think about all the little jobs you have to do. You need titles for A/B testing, a bunch of different thumbnail ideas, a summary for the description, timestamps for the chapters. Instead of doing all that by hand, you can orchestrate a system where different AIs do each piece of the puzzle. That's a massive amount of time saved on every single video.
This whole idea of building systems naturally leads us to another wild skill called vibe coding. I love that name. It's basically the ability to create real, working, good-looking software just by describing what you want. You describe the vibe and the AI builds it. We're talking custom tools, landing pages, things that used to require a team of developers, and you can do it now without writing a single line of code. And here's why that matters. Building a piece of software is now so fast and cheap, you can literally spin one up just to give away for free as a lead magnet. Think about that. The effort it now takes to create a slick, interactive web page is basically the same as the effort it used to take to make a boring old spreadsheet. That is a huge, huge shift in what's possible.
Okay, so we can get reliable answers from AI. We can build amazing systems with AI. So what's left for us to do? Well, that brings us to the most important part of this entire conversation, the irreplaceable part, the human.
This quote just says it all. As creation becomes essentially infinite, curation becomes the bottleneck. Let that sink in. When anyone can make anything, instantly, just being able to make stuff isn't the special skill anymore. The real value, the thing that's now rare and important, is curation. It's judgment. It's knowing what's actually worth creating.
And that is where you come in. Your judgment, your taste, your unique experience, and your ability to think critically, that is the human edge that AI can't replicate. Look, an AI can spit out 1,000 ideas in a minute, but you're the one who can look at them and say, that's the one. That's the idea that has soul. That's the one that's going to work. And we have to be really careful here because there's a huge difference between using AI smartly and using it lazily. On one hand, you have cognitive atrophy. That's where you let the AI do all the hard thinking for you. Your brain is a muscle, and if you don't use it, your critical skills just get weaker over time. But on the other hand, you have cognitive offloading. That's the smart way. You use AI to handle all the boring, repetitive, low-level tasks so that you can save your brain power for the big picture, for strategy, for the creative stuff that actually moves the needle.
So how do you make sure you're offloading, not atrophying? A few simple rules. First, always do your own thinking first. Come up with your own ideas before you ask the AI. Second, treat the AI like a sparring partner, not a ghostwriter. Use it to poke holes in your arguments, to challenge your assumptions. Ask it, what's wrong with this idea? And finally, you have to be intentional. You need to draw a line in the sand. Decide which high-level skills, maybe it's your strategic thinking, maybe it's your core creative writing, are things you will never hand over to an AI, period.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one you should walk away with today. I want you to really think about your own work. Which of your skills are you going to offload to AI to get faster and more efficient? And more importantly, which skills, your unique human edge, are you going to protect, to nurture, and to double down on? Because how you answer that question, well, that's what's going to define your career for the rest of the decade.